Well. Good morning, everybody across the social media world. Mike, the way I wanted to start this morning, it's not been good in the last 24 hours for the Philadelphia sports teams. A little bit of a shellacking, if you would call it, if you were a Water Dogs fan. Uh, they got dog walked by one individual. I'm going to get into that later. But the Mets returned the favor. A receipt, Mike, as we know in the wrestling business, came our way yesterday with the Philadelphia Phillies getting mopped. And poor Mick Abel, well, this was an eye test for most Phillies fans to see what he would do against this juggernaut of a Philly Mets team. We thought the Mets team looked like they were down and out after losing 7 straight. But however, Mick Abel was up for I don't know if he was up for the test, but he was on the mound yesterday and he got shellacked by Brandon Nimmo off of 2 home runs. He gave up 3 home runs in the third against Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, and Juan Soto. Juan Soto yesterday turned Cincinnati Bank Park into batting practice. I mean, doubles, home runs, singles, you name it. He completely thumped this Phillies team, and there was nothing we could do other than get slapped in the face and take it. I mean, they ran through every pitcher that took the mound yesterday. That Mets team needed that win. Their backs were up against the wall. They were an endangered animal, and when you're an endangered animal, you're fighting for your lives, and that's what they did yesterday. So tonight, hopefully, the Phillies can come back and wake up. But however, Jose Luzardo is on the mound, and Mike, if this was 2 months ago, I'd be okay. But as of late, this guy's been a roller coaster ride, so we don't know which Jose Luzardo we're going to get. What do you think?
To be honest with you, Pat, I think we're going to get the good Jesus tonight. The only problem is, they got Dave Peterson on the other side, and he's kind of owned the Phillies. He had a really good performance against them earlier this year. Listen, man, the Phillies got to hit. That's just plain and simple. They got to hit. If they hit, they can match with anybody. And I said this Friday night, which, by the way, guys, no Al today. Al's still kind of in the dark, as we say, from the storms that rolled through. So, Al, we're thinking of you, buddy, and we got you from here. Al graciously filled in for me a week ago, so I appreciate that. But getting back to what you were saying, Pat, it was inevitable. The Mets had a ton of pressure on them to come out and swing the bats. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. What I heard from Mick Abel was he knew what he did wrong. He knew what he did wrong. If you listen to him in his postgame, he said, I got to be much better. I can't leave the ball leave it on that much of, catching the plate. The Mets got professional baseball players too. As much as I hate the Mets, and I don't want to give the Mets credit for anything, like you kind of seen it coming. Like you knew the Mets were going to play hard, especially they got embarrassed Friday night. They did. They got embarrassed Friday night. I thought the kid that pitched Friday night, Tidwell, I thought he pitched a really good game against Wheeler. And the Phillies had to kind of earn everything that they got. Like the Phillies have been really kind of playing small ball ever since really kind of Harper's been out. So I don't know, man. I'd like to see what it is tonight. I think it's going to be a great game. But, would I be surprised if the Phillies drop this one and Luzardo has a bad game? Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. But I wouldn't be shocked either if he went in there and dominated that Mets lineup. Mets have had trouble with left-handed pitching.
Yeah, and listen, I'm with you. So, again, Mike, when I look at this team, and again, Mick Abel yesterday, it didn't matter. He tried to throw fastballs. He was trying to throw sinkers. And, look, there was stuff that he was throwing outside the strike zone. Unfortunately, yes, did the Mets go out and chase it like Lindor and the Polar Bear? But, however, they were making great contact. Sometimes the ball doesn't roll your way. And, unfortunately, Mick Abel got thumped. He got rattled. He got rocked. It happens. He owned it. He didn't shy away from it. It wasn't just him. It was the whole lineup. And listen, I'll give the Phillies offense, their credit. They tried to hang in there as much as they possibly could. but you knew it was going to run out. Like Brandon Marsh was cold yesterday. JT Remuto, unfortunately, was cold yesterday. But everyone else in that lineup, pretty much, again, Alec Bohm, Trey Turner, Schwarber, they were making contact. And it just unfortunately it didn't bounce their way. It just
Yeah,
happened. Like they're like the weird play or in the seventh inning when Lindorm hits it looked like the ball was going foul. And Nick Cassidy was tracing it, and then it just somehow came back and it turned into a double, which was kind of scary.
yeah. I mean, listen, like I said, they got players over there with pride, and they're getting paid millions of dollars too. And I'm pretty sure they've been hearing. Listen, I've been, on TikTok and social media listening to their fans. Like their fans were going like we were. So again, I said Friday night. I believe the Mets are still going to be there. I believe the Braves are coming too, even though I might have to temper that now, considering Chris Sale now is on the IL with broken ribs because he laid out for that ball the other night against the Mets. So now they're going to be missing Chris Sale. Yeah, I mean, the Braves just keep getting hit by that injury bug, man. And, and so were the Mets. I mean, Frankie Montas is on his way back. He had a bad his rehab. He's been giving up a lot of runs in his rehab start. Sean Manaea looked good the other night. I kind of I didn't physically see the game. I saw his highlights. He looks like he's back to almost, midseason form, pitching for the Mets. So those guys are going to be coming back. So the Mets are going to be okay. We're just going to have to deal with them. They're going to be there. So, send them a message today. Hey, okay, you guys got the first series up in Queens. We're going to take this series, and then we'll see you down the line.
But Mike, this is the problem I have though. Like everyone's acting like right away the world's on fire. Like people forget like right away because I don't know about you. Like I've had people chime in with me telling me like pretty much the season's over with last night. I've had people telling me that I've had people complain about Topper, and like I don't think Topper's been doing a bad job, to be honest. I think I think he's been doing a decent job, and right away as soon as the L comes, it's fire Topper, full top, fire Topper.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, to me, like my answer to that is when they say fire Topper, I'm going to say, okay, so who else? Who are you going to have run this Phillies team? Because it's too late to bring somebody in from the outside. It's too late. Like you got to start fresh with a new manager. You know what I mean? Topper was a bench coach, so if you're going to get rid of Topper, you're basically going to have his bench coaches. One of his bench coaches are going to take over, whether it be Chris Long, Caleb Kaufman. One of those two guys are going to be a baseball manager. They're going to be an interim manager until the end of the season. So, yeah, it worked for the Phillies back in 2022, but that's not going to work, I think, now. You know what I mean? Where, like, how can I put it? Like, Robbie's kind of a player's manager, where Girardi wasn't. Girardi was analytical. He was tough, and it wasn't working out. So they got rid of him, and they seem to be working out. So, I mean, and besides, I like the fact Harper's not going to be out forever. So, I mean, and I'm going to say this. This is the positives that I was saying on Friday night, Pat. With everything that's going wrong with the Phillies, right? They still have one of the best records in baseball. Think about that for a second. They have not played like full baseball the whole year. And yet they're still right there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm with you, Mike. Like, I don't understand. Again, like after last night's look, was it an ugly loss? Absolutely. Listen, losing 11-4 at home, where the Mets turned your backyard into batting practice. Absolutely, you have every right to be around. When a Juan Soto goes off, when a Brandon Nimmo goes off, when Lindor goes off, but those guys needed that. Again, those guys were in desperation mode. They need that spark. Okay, they took it out on a rookie pitcher. Like you said, Mike, you kind of saw this happening from around the corner. But let's not like lose sight, let's not lose sight in this Phillies team. Like everyone's ready to throw in the towel, like fire the manager right away. Like, don't give up. I mean, they took 2 or 3 from the Cubs. They swept the Toronto Blue Jays. They took 3 or 4 from the Marlins. Yes, I get it's the Marlins, but the 2 previous teams are decent teams. They're not bad. They're playing 500 baseball. The Cubs and the Blue Jays are playing 500 baseball. So don't give up.
Dude, the Cubs are leading their division, and the Phillies are like 4-2 against the Cubs, and the Cubs lead the Central. So I love how some of our viewers will come on and say, "Oh, well, they haven't beaten anybody." They haven't. Like, they got a winning record against the Dodgers so far. They're 2-1 against the Dodgers. They're 2-2 against the Giants. Okay, they are 0-3 against Milwaukee. Okay, and I believe they're 2-4 against the Cardinals, which is kind of shocking to me. Them being was it 2? They played St. Louis once so far, right? So no, they're 1-2. Or did they?
Yeah, they're 1-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking at this with the Phillies, they got a pretty decent. They have a pretty decent record, over this. I mean, if you're looking at it, yeah. I mean, they're like, they lost 2 or 3 to St. Louis, and yeah, they're literally 4-2 against the Cubbies. They're 2-2 against San Francisco, and they're 2-1 against the Dodgers. I mean, these are some of the topper teams in baseball. If you're looking at it, they took 2 or 3 from Cleveland. Cleveland's a good team. Okay, Arizona at the time when they played them, they took 2 or 3 from Arizona. Arizona was right in the mix. So, and
you're right. I get it. Like, I love all of our listeners and stuff like that, but this ain't the Matty B show. Let's call for what it is. We don't have to walk around on negative Nancy all the time and dance. This is, you don't have to be, listen, it's one ugly loss. And look, that's the worst. Like I said, I get that people are frustrated, but why is it that the manager, Rob Thompson, is the guinea pig? He needs to be the experienced guy to get out of here. Like you said it best. Like, if you fire this guy now, what do you have to replace him with? Dusty Baker? Kevin Long, the hitting coach? I mean, what's going to change this into a, like, everyone forgets this guy when this team was 12 runs out, 12 games out, turned into a World Series team. Like, everyone forgets, like, and he's answered most of the problems, right? We had a problem. Who was going to be the leadoff man? Trey Turner or Bryson Stott? Guess what he rolled with? Trey Turner. Kyle Schwarber. Everybody want Kyle Schwarber in cleanup duty. Guess where he's batting at? Alec Bohm was struggling. He put him in the 8th hole. Now he's a hitting machine. Guess where he's at? Top of the lineup. So, I mean, what else can you want from Rob Thompson? But Mike, we got a guest. Believe it or not, Mike, we have a friend. We have a special guest. Not a lot of people want to hang out with 2 losers like you and me.
Well, speak for yourself. You're a loser. Yes, I can understand that. And yeah, we do have a guest coming in.
Yes.
He covers New York sports, so what better than on Phillies Mets weekend to bring in somebody who we can talk about the other side. Now, I did bring up, about I still believe that the Mets are going to be there. At the end of the year, I'm not thinking that the ship's falling off with them. I think they got help coming. But yeah, let's bring him on. He's affectionately known as Pudgy Mike. Mike, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hello, good morning, guys. How's everything down in Philly over there?
Oh, it's good, man. It's Phillies Mets weekend.
It's a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
It was everything was good up until last night when we got shellacked by those Mets, by the amazing Mets coming down here and thumping this Phillies team. That had to happen. But yeah, Mike. So listen, also, we follow each other on TikTok. I see your work. Always doing great stuff, guys. This is Pudgy Mike, so follow him on Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Does a lot of stuff. And Mike, you're like us. You're real about your teams. When they're playing bad, you call them out. When they're playing good, you call them for what it is. So, Mike, what's been going on with this Mets team, and what did you see from last night?
Last night, I just saw a team desperate to break out. It was a matter of time. So, and 7, I couldn't see 8, 9 in a row coming. Even though I'm a Mets fan, I've seen the worst of the worst. But it was just a matter of time before they break out. The ball was flying last night, and the ball was jump. All the talk about dead balls and all that stuff just didn't seem to exist last night. So Soto woke up yesterday. Everybody woke up. Nimmo, Lindor. It seems like this team goes by Lindor. So when Lindor does well, the rest follow. So thankfully that happened. Canning wasn't that good, but thankfully Philly helped us out a little bit.
Yeah, listen, here's a known fact with the Phillies. When they don't see a guy, forget about it. That dude's going to look like Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, and Cy Young all rolled into one. It's been a Phillies thing forever and years. Whenever we see a pitcher, when I saw Tidwell, I did Friday night's post-game show here, and when I saw he was going against Zach Wheeler, I went, this kid's going to look like Nolan Ryan. And for 3 innings, man, the kid kind of hung in there with Zach Wheeler. So I got a question for you, Mike. Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas, how far away are they from rejoining this Mets team and helping out that pitching staff?
So what the Mets did was very, very smart. They kept Montas away from Philly, so we have him lined up to go Tuesday night back at Citi Field against Atlanta, who we could use a little bit of revenge on. Manaea has one more rehab start in Syracuse, and then he'll be up next week to help the big club. After that, I mean, we're getting that typical. They could be trade deadline acquisition type things, which I always hate a GM saying. But yeah, so they're getting healthier. Also, still got guys like I'm glad Sanga's injury wasn't too crazy. It's only going to be a little over a month, but yeah, Montas and Manaea are right around the corner.
Yeah, one other question I have for you too. I'm sorry, Pat.
Good.
Speaking of that, there's been rumors about a reunite with Jacob deGrom. Has that been getting any wheels coming from out of there? Because I've been seeing a lot of people on TikTok kind of wanting them to go back out and reacquire Jacob deGrom and bring him back to New York.
When you have that ex-girlfriend that didn't really want to stay with you, and when she left you, you got upset, but deep down you knew she wanted to go somewhere else. Now she's available again, and you want her back, even though she's got a lot of baggage with her. The DeGrom thing it's a pipe dream for Mets fans. They want DeGrom back, obviously, because he's the best pitcher of the last 40, 50 years for the Mets. But to acquire him, to give up what we have to give up with that injury history, he's still got 2 more years at $40 million a pop. That's not a David Stearns type of pitcher, especially at that age. And although DeGrom's been excellent this year, I'd love to have him back. I don't think that's a thing that Stearns typically does. He doesn't pay pitchers over the age of 30 big amounts of money. If DeGrom was on his walk year, I would say yes, but he's still got 2 years left, $40 million a pop. I don't think that's something Stearns wants to lock into.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, no, it's wow. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, though, like I said, stay away from DeGrom. What you guys have is working now. Again, look, I'm called on this show. I'm called the Turnpike Turncoat because, or the secret hidden Mets fan coming from my co-partner over there. Because again, I see the way that this Mets team has been rocking and rolling, and the Phillies kind of backsliding. But now, like it's kind of this rivalry has been fun to watch. I mean, last night I don't know about you guys, but to me, this had like that little bit of that postseason atmosphere. The crowd, both crowd bases traveling up and down the turnpike, coming in, making it better. It just to me just had that vibes. But so tonight, how do you see this thing playing out, Pudge and Mike? How do you see the Mets? They need that win yesterday. Can they run it back tonight?
It's going to be it depends on the Philly side of things, right? Which Luzardo are we going to be getting as the lineup? Because I think over the last couple starts, Luzardo hasn't been too good. But to start the season, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. So we're throwing out Peterson tonight. He's been our best pitcher aside from Sanga. It's a matter of the bats waking up again. Can we do it? Can we do it again on Sunday Night Baseball, which I hate. I hate ESPN. But if there's a way we could just kind of win this game, then a lot of Mets fans would really calm down. I thought there was so much overreaction to the losing streak. This season is so long, and if they win tonight, all those fans that were doom and gloom will be right back on the bandwagon.
Oh yeah, Frank the Tank will be not chewing on his little thing. And,
Oh, I hate that guy.
he is amusing because, like, to me, he is amusing. But the one thing I love about this rivalry, and I'm a little older, guys. I'm a little older than both of you guys. I remember when I'll tell you a story. In '86, the Mets were coming down to Philly to play a 3-game set. They needed one win. They needed one win to pop the champagne, and the Phillies didn't let them do it. The Phillies swept them out. They had to go to Pittsburgh and pop the champagne. But I used to remember a ton when I was growing up between, mid 80s on. There was always a lot of Mets fans that would come down. I've gone to Old Shea. And true story, Pat knows this story. My 2008 World Series Phillies hat is literally buried in concrete at Citi Field.
Jesus.
I wanted to bless the place. And the guy who poured the concrete was a Yankees fan. So it was pretty funny. He turned around, he said, "This is great." I threw my hat. So somewhere up there in one of the columns is a 2008 World Series Phillies hat buried in the concrete.
That's awesome.
But I love the rivalry. I don't like it when one team is better than the other. I don't feel like there's really not, like when the Phillies were being real good. Like the last time I can remember it before last year was probably 2007 when the Mets had Santana, Reyes, Wright. They had that core there, and they were pushing. And like for me, I always said that the Mets brought out the best in the Phillies back then, and I think we bring out the best in each other now.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're so close in proximity, which makes it such a rivalry. Because it's like about less than a 2-hour drive from New York just to get to Philly, and vice versa. So it's like. And it's more on the Mets. It was more on the Mets side of things why the rivalry wasn't there over the last 20 years with the Wilpons and all the crap that happened with them. And the Mets typically when they get into the postseason, it's usually some sort of miracle run. Like 2015, they barely won the division and then made their way to the World Series with that roster. And then 2 years ago when they won like 101 games, there was a lot of empty stats there because they got whopped by the Padres in the first round, failed the next year.
Believe it or not, me and Pat were going back and forth with that. Pat kept telling me, this is why we call him Turnpike Pat, because number one, he had Mets colors on, right? He had Met colors, he had blue and orange, right? So he's wondering why we're calling him a Mets fan, right? And he keeps talking about how I said, they're not going to get by the Padres. Oh, you're nuts. They had 101. I said, they're not going to get by the Padres. Sure enough, they don't get by the Padres. I'm like, I told you. Oh, and another low key, Pat is also a Giants fan. True story. Our guy Al, who's not here today. Okay, we're watching Eagles Giants a couple of years ago in the playoffs.
A live remote. A
live remote. We're in the Eagles bar. What's my man wear? Blue.
Good.
I mean Giants blue. Now my kid's a Giants fan, and he does his own podcast. Yes. He actually does. It's called damn. Now I'm drawing a blank of his podcast, but he does a Giants podcast as well. And he was born and raised in Philly. He's a diehard Giants fan. So Big Blue Power Hour. That's what my son. So I'm sorry, Pat. I had to plug it. You know what I mean?
That's all right. No, it's all right.
I got to plug it.
Listen, I didn't think for Evan, but listen. No, I look for me when I look at this rivalry again. It goes back to look. The local product for us, Mike Piazza, right from Norristown. Again, a Mets legend. Again, it goes back, and then it kind of revitalized back in 08. It was like you said, Mike, 08, 07, 08. David Wright's first, Jimmy Rollins, the Ryan Howard's. I mean, that was a good time. And then the Phillies kind of, fell off a bit. The Mets kind of picked up. Well, like you said, DeGrom, the Dark Knight, Thor, getting all those guys. Again, one thing about the Mets, you can say what you want, but one thing they know how to do is their farm system. They know how to rake up some pitchers. Like they sneeze out great pitchers all the time. It's amazing. Where us, we I think like the last Cliff Lee, Hamels, and Aaron Nola have been the only two pitchers that really came out of the farm system. I really can't think of anything else. But again, though, going back to this series, though, like I said, it's been a back and forth. But, Mike, you've been frustrated with this team, Pudgy Mike. You've been frustrated with this Mets team up until then. Like, shed a little light on this, because when we see it from the outside in, we're thinking they're still a Dynamite team, even though they went on a 7-game losing streak. But what's been bothering you most about this Mets team?
The same thing that's been, excuse me, the same thing that's been bothering me from the start of the season. It's the hitting with the runners in scoring position. I'm personally not paying him, but we're paying him. We're paying Juan Soto, although he's making a lot of people look stupid over the last month. We're paying this guy $700 X amount of $1 million to hit with runners in scoring position. He was hitting, I think, 170 up until June 1st. Not going to get it done. Alonso was the only guy that was carrying the team. Lindor was still playing well. But when you look at the team 5 through 9, it is just black hole after black hole after black hole. Watching Francisco Alvarez, I don't care about the home run last night. The kid looks lost at the plate. 23 years old. He was 21 when he hit 24 bombs in his rookie season. You thought you were getting the next, not Mike Piazza, but you thought you were getting the next big home run catcher in Major League Baseball. Watching Ronnie Mauricio stick his butt out on every single breaking ball on his swing is pathetic to watch. Jeff McNeil's good. I like Jeff McNeil. But 5 through 9, this team needs a lot of help. And the pitching, again, if you were any baseball fan knows, this pitching staff was going to come back down to earth at some point. These guys, Griffin Cannon's career ERA is 5. You look at the other guys they have, like Sanga's Sanga's been injured the last 2 seasons. You knew something would pop up, and something did pop up. Peterson's been the best one out of all of them, thankfully. Clay Holmes is, God knows when his innings limit's going to be. It's starting to look like it's biting him a little bit. So thankfully, we're getting a little reinforcement, and you're taxing the bullpen at this point. So everything with these starters, as great as they weren't going more than 5 2/3, maximum 6 innings, and over a long period of time, that's going to bite your bullpen as great as they've been. So I am still excited about the team. I still think it's a 2-team race. Atlanta set up their pitching staff against the Mets like it was the World Series. They held Sale back, threw Sale 120 pitches, made a great diving play in the 9th inning, and then cracked his ribcage. So I don't cheer for injuries, but they went all out, and then they got blown out by the Marlins that first game. So I'm not worried about Atlanta. This could come back to bite me, but I still think this is a 2-team race all the way down to the finish line.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Mike. I think that they I think it's I'm not going to count Atlanta out. I feel like their offense, I know their pitching's kind of been kind of iffy, but they got a stacked lineup too down there. I mean, if Ozuna gets going, Olsen gets going, Riley, they've been kind of doing what the Phillies have been doing. You know, like nobody's like the Phillies this year for us. It's been 1 or 2 guys in our lineup that get hot. It hasn't been the whole lineup. Like we had Schwarber carry us for a little while. Schwarber and Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott was leading off. He was doing great. Then when he cooled off, Turner got hot. And then like Cassidy would get hot for a little bit. Like your guys are seeing prime JT because JT's been on a milk carton for most of the year. I mean, he was on a milk carton. I'd love to pick up a Max Kepler. There's a lot of Phillies fans that don't like it. I think he's the type of dude, if you let him play every day, he can, I think he can contribute. The thing is, they just don't play him every day. My question to you is Vientos, and D Reels right here, he brought it up. He said, we need Vientos back. What is his status for the Mets coming back? Because I felt like that kid was a Philly killer last year in the postseason.
Yeah, the one thing you like to see when it comes to any one of your prospects or like a signing, how they perform in the postseason, right? That's the biggest key. And that kid went off in the postseason after being called up and down the last 2 seasons in the minor leagues. Really stepped up in the playoffs, and you knew the sophomore slump thing might happen with the way that he does. He still has problems with the breaking ball. He's expected back possibly tomorrow night. When they start the series with Atlanta at Citi Field. He didn't spend too long on the IL, but maybe a little IL stint wasn't the worst thing for him. Get his head right a little bit. But him and Beatty are just going to be battling out that third base position until they trade any one of these guys, until they start trading some of these guys, because there's an influx of all these position players. But they could use the half of what Vientos was in the playoffs in this lineup last year.
Yeah, and when you look again, if this is signs of the Mets kind of getting things back on track after last night's, pretty much turning Juan Soto's. He turned Assistant Bank Park into a batting practice routine. But if they get things up and running again, which kind of scares me on the Phillies, side of things too, Mike, because this bullpen, someone in this bullpen during a game will let things get hairy. Whether it's Taijuan Walker, whether it's Matt Strom, whether it's Joe Ross. I mean, someone's bound to let things get ugly fast, and that's again. That needs to be worked on. So, for the Phillies' perspective, I think they got to get themselves an arm at the trade deadline. Where do you see the Mets going for the trade deadline?
Trade deadline? Starting pitcher has to be Scott. You need a proven guy. You can't trade for another project that Stearns and the pitching lab can kind of get for the second half of the season. You need some guy that goes deep into games, at least gives you 6 on a consistent basis. They need a center fielder. I know Jaron Duran would be a pipe dream for me, and a bullpen guy, like a lefty out of the bullpen. They're supposed to be getting Brooks Raley back after Tommy John from last year around the All-Star break. So if I had to put it in order, I really think they do need that bat. So I would say center field, starting pitcher, and then relief pitcher, and if possible, catcher. But I don't know how they could pull something like that off.
Yeah, the thing I've been hearing about the Mets, because it's the same guy's actually linked to the Phillies as well, is Cedric Mullins.
Yeah.
Now, I know the guy who runs this network, Matty B, doesn't want Cedric Mullins. I personally, if we can get him for a half a year and we don't have to give up a deep prospect, which you probably won't for a rental, I wouldn't mind him coming here. But both teams are kind of looking for the same thing, though. If you really take a look at it, they're both looking for bullpen help. You guys need a frontline starter. We need bullpen help. So another name too that I've been hearing that might be trying to make his return to New York is Thor, Noah Syndergaard. I don't know what the bromance is.
As what, a pitcher or as a fan or a pitcher?
Yeah. No, as a pitcher. Like he was, he said he was open to going to being traded back to New York. I mean, he's on the Angels right now, so I guess anything out of Anaheim would be good. I mean, I would take Mike Trout right now. I don't think it would cost that much to go get him.
I don't think so either. If you're going to grab Trout, it's not going to cost a lot for them to try and rid themselves of that contract. I think he's got maybe 3 years left, 2 or 3 years left on that deal. Hometown kid. It would be a nice finish to his career. So seeing something like that. But I wanted to ask you guys, like, to me, the Philly lineup usually goes as well as a guy like Alec Boehm goes. So I really think they got to keep him hot at this point. Because when is Harper due back?
We don't know. Like he's got inflammation. Like at this point, I'm going to say probably after the All-Star break. I know he's down. We have Nola's just got transferred to the 60-day DL. So the way they're looking at it, to be honest with you, us Philly fans, we're calling for Crawford to come up. The kid's batting almost 400 at Lehigh Valley. They brought up Otto Kemp, who was smashing the ball down in Lehigh. They brought him up when Harper got hurt. To be honest with you, I think what they're going to do is I think Marsh or Rojas are probably going to be in a trade package moving forward. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Alec Boehm too, because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with him and the way he acts.
I'll take Boehm.
Yeah, I'm with you, Pudgy. Like
I like Boehm a lot, man.
I've had a lot of people address me about, hey, listen, why don't they have moved on from Alec Boehm now? I mean, he's got a hot bat. But to me, I'm with you guys. If they move on from Alec Boehm now, who kind of sets the tone of this team other than Trey Turner, like to me, you might as well just say, here, we're selling this team off, because like you mentioned about Lindor, if he gets hot, that whole squad gets hot. To me, Trey Turner and Alec Boehm, other than that, they kind of set the pace of this, for this lineup.
No.
What do you mean, no, Mike?
I'm going to say, no. I will trade him in a heartbeat. You know why? I will get starting pitching, and guess what? You'll get just as much production from Otto Kemp as you will Alec Boehm. Okay, you will get just as much, and guess what? Otto Kemp's got a better glove. He's got a better glove at third base than Alec Boehm. Yes, I would trade him, and guess what? It knocks Alec Boehm's money off, and now you got a guy who's basically getting into his service time in the major leagues, and he's a stopgap third baseman till Aiden Miller comes up.
No,
So,
Mike, you don't move on from Alec Bohm.
Yes,
you
you
gotta
do.
keep it. No, you, Mike,
Bye.
Pudgy Mike,
driving.
welcome to PM and the AM. Where me, this is a part of the show where me and Mike fight. It's
All the time. All the time.
It's part of the norm here. I see you got that. I see you got that championship belt. You might have to put it in. Put it into the show here.
You guys are gonna have to fight for it. That's
Yeah.
Listen. This is part of the norm.
Exactly, because Pat will say something, and I got to come in and correct him because he's just out there.
One question. I'm not really in. I know Aiden Miller. I know Crawford. Are there any because I had a big back and forth with a lot of Mets fans recently. I put a video out where I said proven players over prospects any day of the week. So do you guys have any untouchables?
I would say Abel, Painter, and Crawford and Miller. Those four are untouchable. Everybody else, we have four that are untouchable. And I would say Painter because he's going to be, him and Mick Abel are going to be the guys that are going to take over for Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. So they're going to be front end guys. Again, Aiden Miller's just tearing it up. I'll tell you what, I went and trade him. There's another kid playing for Lehigh Valley too, Raccoon Jr. He's a right fielder. Kid's got pop in his bat. I wouldn't trade him either. But you have to trade something to get something. So if you're looking at it, I gave you my top four. Those top four, I wouldn't trade. Painter, Abel, Crawford, and Aiden Miller. They would be my top four. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of them.
I'm with Mike. I don't want to move on from the farm system. The farm system right now, I mean, according to the stats and all that stuff, a couple of guys are producing. Got to see how that translates into the majors. But I'm going to, stay loyal to the farm system. I mean, like I said, this is where me and Mike differ because I'm not moving from Alec Bohm. But Mike doesn't play Monopoly much, and he'd rather move on from Boardwalk. But anyway, I got a question for you, Pudgy Mike. Like, we get a lot of lack on this show from our listeners about Rob Thompson. I would give him a B+. I don't know what Mike would give him, but I got to ask you, what's your thoughts on Carlos Mendoza as your manager up to this point?
I love Mendoza so much. He's very transparent when it comes to the media and speaking to the fans, and he calls guys out through the media in like the most professional way possible. It's not some sort of let me throw you under the bus type thing. There was a lot of stuff last year, especially when this team started, 11 games under 500 in April, May last year. They wrote the ship, and whatever happened with the players-only meeting, who knows how far that takes them. Guys just have to just start performing at the end of the day. So guys don't hustle. I know there was a thing with Vientos who didn't run a ball out to first base. He called him out, said that they were going to speak to him through the media. That's stuff that you don't have to do as a manager, as frustrating as it might be for us who don't see what goes on the inside of these clubhouses. It's nice to hear that once in a while when a guy's intentionally not running hard and the team's going to call him out on it. So I definitely like Mendoza. I like the way he manages his team. I don't know what more you could do when it comes to guys that can only throw 4 innings and you got to bring bullpen guys in. There's not much you could say. I know this one guy this a couple days ago, he was trying to criticize Mendoza for not having a pitcher warmed up in the 7th inning. You can shut up. Shut up. We're nitpicking now because we're on a losing streak. Everything that when it's all going wrong, it's all going wrong. You guys know that as much as me.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything gets criticized.
That's one thing that doesn't cross state lines is the way we react towards our teams. Like the same way we react down here in Philly, you guys react the same way up in New York, Boston. It's a Northeast thing, man. Like when we're in the midst of a losing streak, man, it is just painful to sit there and watch, but we wear our hearts on our sleeves. I think that's what makes rivalries, Philly, New York, Boston, DC. I think that's what makes those rivalries really, really good is because we all the fan bases wear their hearts on their sleeve.
Yeah, it's almost like we all have the same mindset. Like we don't wear the pom-poms for anybody. Like if a team's going through a rough patch, a losing streak, we don't sit there and go, well, yay, good. At least they try. Like, no, we are going to call you for what it is, call you to the carpet, whether if it's a bad pitch, whether it's this guy sucks at the plate. It could be in any other sport. It could be hockey, it could be basketball, it could be football. Like, we don't hold back between anywhere from DC all the way up to Boston. Like Mike said, it's definitely a Northeast thing. We kind of all have the same mindset. We all love the intense rivalry between all four cities, like I just mentioned. It's something that, really, really enjoy. But listen, this is the It's a Wrap Sports. We do have Pudgy Mike from New York. Again, guys, give Mike a follow, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram. Again, Pudgy Boys does a heck of a job covering this team. I watch everything this guy pours out, because it's not coming from the shirt, it's coming from the heart. So I mean, he's true, he's real, and I definitely enjoy his stuff. But Mike, I gotta ask you, I ask this to every host, I got one more question for you. Sunday Night Baseball, what is your meal plan of tonight? What would you eat? Chill back watching this game, what would you eat?
Well, tonight's going to be tonight's pasta night, Sunday.
Yes.
So we have the pasta, the meatballs, the sausage. We got that good stuff going on. But maybe during the game, as I don't want to do this in front of Philly fans, but probably a glass of wine, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh, man, listen. If you got to do what you got to do to relax. The only reason why is because there's 52 Sundays in a year. Pat has pasta every Sunday.
That's it. So,
I mean, I'm Italian too, but I don't eat pasta every Sunday. You gotta break it up a little bit. But we always do the meal of the day, or the meal of the getting ready to watch the big games. Now I got a question. I want to switch it to you, Mike, just real quick. NFC East football.
Oh no.
What do you have? What's your outlook for the Giants this year?
Oh boy. If you guys could refrain from laughing for 2 minutes, I think they're going to be a little better than what people think.
I do too. I really do. Believe it or not, I have the Giants. I have the Giants in the Cowboys. I have the Giants just under the Cowboys, and I think the Giants could probably get about 7-8 wins.
I'll take that. Yeah, because I mean, I think, man, this defense, everything on paper obviously has to play out, but this defense does look legitimate. I think they did draft the best player in the class in Carter. Dable technically got his quarterback. At least that's what they're telling us, and I think he likes Dart a lot. So the best thing for this team is if we don't see Dart that much this year. That means we're playing very well. I think Russ does have a little bit left in the tank. I don't think it's Super Bowl worthy, but can I see competitive football for the first time in a couple of years? Yes. Just pushing it back just a little bit. The Daniel Jones playoff year really set this franchise back. As great as that was, caused us to make a lot of bad decisions. And at the end of the day, the team, I think, at 3.5 wins over under is a little disrespectful. I don't know if the players look at that and they get disrespected anymore by that kind of stuff, but I think that they'll be a little better than what people anticipate.
Well, I'm a huge Penn State guy, so I've seen Abdul Carter, play, from a freshman. You guys are getting a beast up there. And to be honest with you, I can't wait, because I honestly think, to be honest with you, I think he's going to replace Thibodeau. I think you guys are going to move on from Thibodeau once he gets up there, because, and Pat will even tell you, my son Danny, or my son Evan, and his buddy Danny are on their show. I told him, I said, I think Thibodeau was a bust. I never liked him. I didn't like him coming out of college. But the guy you're getting in Abdul Carter, that guy's a beast. And I think he's going to do very well. I looked at it like this. You guys didn't even try to go after Adoree Jackson and Ojulari. And Ojulari was one of your best pass rushers. So I know, I kind of read into things. When you allow somebody like Ojulari to leave out, and he was probably one of your best pass rushers, to me, I was like, yeah, they're going to be – I think there is a little kind of stank on the Giants' name this year. I like them. I think they can get 7 or 8 wins this year. Even with their schedule. Yeah.
A guy like Ojulari, when fully healthy and he plays 17 games, he's a 10-plus sack guy. It's not even debatable. His ability to get to the quarterback and finish plays, force the ball out of the player's hands, he is a game wrecker. But the problem with him was every single time soft tissue injury. Here comes a hamstring. Here comes a quad. Here's a shoulder. It's like, if this guy could just stay on the field, he is a double-digit game wrecker. And Philly got an absolute. They got a steal getting him. He's going to be such a bigger impact than Bryce Huff was, and it's not even close.
Yeah, and you know what? I was kind of hyped up for Bryce Huff only because I seen the game he had against us the year before. So I was like, well, wow, we're getting him. But I watched Ojulari play for the last, 3-4 years with you guys up there. And I'm like, I would tell my son, like, I told my son I said, that guy's a beast. I said, that kid's going to be really good for you guys. And of course, like right now, like my son, he gets so mad because he's like, what is it? He goes, all our good guys are leaving and going to you guys. He's like, he gets so, like my son burned his, he literally took his Barkley jersey off, burned it, burned his Barkley jersey. So my grandson, his son, is actually an Eagles fan, his oldest son. So I sent him a Barkley Eagles jersey. And he's like, really, Dad? You really had to send that to him? But I can't wait. I was hoping, I love going up there. I like the old stadium better. I like the old Giant Stadium better. I don't like Snoopy Stadium at all.
The stadium's gross. It looks like a microwave from the outside.
It does.
It's disgusting.
It does. I call it the Big Snoop because it's I call it the Big Snoopy. But I like the old Giant Stadium better. It had more grit to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Vet. It was a dump. We knew it was a dump, but it was our dump. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and listen, Mike, I got a question too. I mean, I saw you go nuts. I'm seeing you go nuts. I've seen. We're talking about Thibodeau's here. I've seen Stephen A. Smith go nuts. Knicks move on from Thibodeau. A lot of New Yorkers not happy with the Knicks front office moves to a guy who brought really relevancy to the Knicks. I mean, listen, as much me and Mike like to joke around and call the Knicks the new Villanova North, but listen, nonetheless, you guys are in a much better spot as far as basketball wise than we are. I mean, we're still dealing with old washed up players and a center who's just too banged up to stay healthy anymore. You can't give you at least 5 more games. So anyway. Shed some light on New York and how they're feeling about moving on from Thibodeau and what's going on up there as far as Knicks wise.
The sense that I got from a lot of fans was that it's a 50-50 split down the middle with Tom Thibodeau. I think it really depends on how old you are as a Knicks fan. Excuse me, because if you were born in like 98 or 2000, you've seen nothing but dreadful basketball your entire life. But if you've seen some sort of success in the 90s, you understand what it takes. So this, no one is going to ever forget what Tom Thibodeau, and I'm not a Tom Thibodeau guy. I love everything he brought to the team. He rebuilt the culture from the ground up, but that's exactly what the type of coach he is. He's the guy to rebuild your culture, get you to the point, and then you need something else to get past the finish line. They got very, very, very lucky against Detroit. They got even more lucky against Boston, and everything that bit them in the ass again, bit them again in Indiana. This team was down by double digits in almost every game in the postseason. It's not sustainable. So I love what Thibodeau did. The coaching search is being a little bit it's being a little bit taken by the media in a negative light. Knicks for clicks is like a huge thing that the media does. They talk about the Knicks head coaching search more than they were talking about the finals this past week and a half. So it's like, I'll never forget what Tom Thibodeau did the last 5 years, but I can't look at the previous 20 years. And because if you give some of these coaches some of the talent Tom Thibodeau had, I don't know how they would have done. But I'm not mad at the firing. I think I agree with going after guys who Leon Rose right now seems to be getting a lot of guys extended and extra money. So maybe that's the agent in him. He got Udoka a new contract. Billy Donovan got a new contract. I still think it's Jason Kidd. I think it's always been Jason Kidd. I'll go to my grave saying that. But if they can't get Kidd done, then it'll be Jenkins or Brown. And I think they need something to maximize the offensive talent on this roster, which Thibodeau can't do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys have such a tremendous watching most of these kids run through that. Again, Jalen Brunson, I knew just to watch him translate his game, and I knew once he was going to the Knicks, I was going to say ouch for years to come. Again, you guys had for a little bit, Vince DiVincenzo before he got traded. But again, you guys are well stacked with Anthony Towns. I mean, it's a well-built team. From head to toe, it's something. And now, like I said, you guys moved on from. It didn't take you guys again the New York Knicks front office to move on from Thibodeau like that. Here down here we're waiting on when they're going to move on from Nick Nurse. I mean, we got a plenty of names they could remove on, and yeah, I don't see any true happiness coming through Philly basketball for a while. But listen, again, guys, this is our man Pudgy Mike. Again, guys, give him a follow on TikTok, Instagram. I mean, he does such a great job covering. He's true, real to his teams, real to the sports teams up there in New York. We want to say thank you for joining us this morning. And Mike, anytime you want to hop on here and talk with us two buffoons, you're more than welcome at any time.
Yeah, I'll probably wait till the Mets win a series against Philly to come back on. I don't want to get roasted on here.
No, that's all right. Listen, we'll roast each other before you even are thought. I mean, that's what we do best. That's what we're notorious for. So, and by the way, I see you do have some nice wrestling belts back there. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time? I see you're a big wrestling fan.
Yeah, huge. Growing up in the Attitude, I'm 35, so growing up during the Attitude, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's not even close. These guys still watch it to this day. Unlike sports, wrestling's there every single week on a consistent basis. The Mets could be bad, the Knicks could be bad, Philly could be bad. It doesn't matter because wrestling will always be there for you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
all right.
It's really funny because me and Pat spent time in the wrestling business. I'm actually still currently in. This is my last hurrah, so to say. But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely something to be a part of that business and to watch it. It's mind-blowing at times.
Yeah, me and Mike are two old independent workers, but I just want to say that I got to ask you, this is the one true wrestling question. Matter of fact, I got to ask you, I'm pretty sure you've gotten this head to toe being a wrestling fan. Better trash talker, Stone Cold or The Rock?
No, it's close, but I'd probably give the edge to The Rock because he always made me he's so quick on the mic, man. But Austin was so good. Austin was more in your face, passion, guy behind the bar that's going to kick your ass. But The Rock's the guy who's going to make you laugh and just roast you completely. But Austin was fun too. But at The Rock on the mic, it's tough to find somebody like The Rock. Cena's a close second to me, but The Rock was top of the line.
What do you think about Cena going heel?
Love it. I think we're just getting it started now. This past weekend with the Pipe Bomb 2.0 against Punk. Yeah. I think the heel turn. I think Punk seems to bring out the best in anybody that he goes against, and he finally got the heel Cena that we've been wanting. Cody couldn't do it. Jey Uso couldn't do it. I'm not a big Jey Uso guy anyway, and all these guys couldn't do it. But now Punk, Cena, I don't mind watching this. I hope this is like a couple of matches. I don't want this to be a one-off in Saudi Arabia. I'd like to see more than that. But it's going to suck seeing Cena go. And all the people that are hating on it, you don't know what you got till it's gone. So appreciate this run because when these guys go and they get older, and Goldberg's another example. In 30 years, God willing, we're all on this planet still. You're gonna miss those days of watching these guys. So appreciate it while we still have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, guys, I want to say thanks, Mike, for hopping on. I think New York sports, and again, Mike's going to call me a turnpike turncoat for this, but I think New York is going to be in a good spot, in the near future. I think you guys are going to have an upcoming basketball team. Your basketball team is a lot more advanced than ours. I think your hockey team, I keep on saying how good the Rangers are going to be with Mike Sullivan. I've been wanting Mike Sullivan with the Flyers, and this guy right here will tell you I've been crying nights and days about wanting to have Mike Sullivan, but the Rangers got him. And listen, I've seen the success he had with Pittsburgh. I know he's got a no nonsense mentality. Again, he's a winnable coach, and yeah, shut up, Mike. You and your hairy banana, you can shut up over there.
Anybody can win with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. He can make any coach look good. Look good. I mean, come on, dude. Like, serious. Like, who's the guy down in Washington that's head coach in Washington? They had the number one overall. They had the number one overall in points this year. Where'd that get them? A second round exit. Like, come on with that, man. The players got to play, man. That's it. If they couldn't play for Laviolette, that's a problem. Laviolette was.
Yeah, one year everyone listens to his message, everyone else is cashed out. I don't give you the love yet.
That Ranger core pretty much ran its course. So whatever they had their best shot a few years ago, a couple of years ago, but that the core ran its course. Drury gets a lot of hate, but a lot of the stuff he's doing has to be done right now. They have to get top back on the best players that they have.
Yeah, but you guys got what, 2 guys or 6'7", 6'10" on this is what's his name, Kemper or whatever, 2 big boys on ice. I mean, yeah, I don't want to catch fisticuffs with those guys.
Yeah, they just re-signed Kemper, didn't they?
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I was like, man, looking around. Just real quick, Mike, how do you see the Eastern Conference playing out going forward? I mean, Florida won its back-to-back.
Kill them. It's ridiculous now.
Are you a Rangers fan, by the way? Because there's 3 teams up there. I got to make sure.
Yeah, no, I lean Rangers. As much as I'm not diehard, but I'll lean Rangers when I focus on hockey a little bit. Yeah, I think the Rangers. I mean, Florida winning, they're just not going to be broken up at any point. So this could be the norm for the next couple of years if we deal with this. I'm curious to see what the next moves the Rangers are going to do.
Barbara, I love you, but we're talking sports.
Yeah, by the way, traitor. She's great, but she's a traitor. She's a traitor. I saw what she did to us last week. Called us 2 homers.
I know. She's calling us 2 homers on Maddie's show. Yeah, I know. She'll go back and run. She's going to wait for Maddie later. I hope you're waiting a long time because I think Maddie's doing everything in one, which is he's doing the Fightins final and his show. I guess he's going to combine them.
She heard the Goldberg talk and said, "All right, enough of
that." She probably tuned in after church and was like, "Oh my God, these guys are talking wrestling." But
anyway, listen. I think we could call a show, Mike. But listen, I want to say thanks, Mike. Pudgy Mike again, guys. Give him a follow on TikTok, on Instagram. He's here joining us on the It's a Wrap Sports. This is the PM and AM show, little Philly in New York edition, pretty much. And it's been an honor to have Mike on the show, guys. We're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna join the rest of our Sunday and go Phil. What's up, buddy?
Pat, hold on, before we go.
What do you got to whip out?
I ain't whipping out nothing. Stop that. It's the Lord's Day. What the hell's the matter? And we got a guest. What the hell's the matter with you? We got to pay our bills. Guys, make sure you tune in tonight, 10 o'clock. Matty B, the final word. He will have you all the days comings and goings in Philadelphia sports today. Make sure you definitely tune in for that. Again, the scheduling for the Fightins final, it will be Matty B. Me and him are the leaders. I worked for Al on Saturday. So make sure you guys tune in. Matty B will have the Down on the Farm report. Make sure you tune in to that tonight. On Thursday, that's right, it's Pat, a.k.a. the Bugs Bunny of It's a Wrap Sports Network. Him and Steve Fuentes will be talking everything MLS and Union. So make sure you check into the Attacking Third. And like I said, he is the Bugs Bunny. Friday nights, 10:30. Make sure Pat is on with his favorite show, the Wraparound. Make sure you tune in for that. And then, of course, guys, every Sunday morning, that's pretty much how me and Pat get along. It's usually me choking the hell out of him after something that he said. But make sure you tune in. Your Sundays will never be the same here on It's a Wrap Sports. Mike, thank you once again for coming on with us. And we look forward to working with you more in the future, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, for Pat Bernard, for Pudgy Mike, I am Mike Laro. We will see you guys later. And go Phils.
Go Phils, go Mets, and let's go.